Welcome to Espresso Yourself, the podcast where mom life, running life, and teaching life collide.
We're three women juggling lesson plans, long runs, and real life chaos, sharing honest conversations about motherhood, miles, and making a difference in and out of the classroom.
Whether you're listening on a run, in the carpool line, or hiding out with your coffee, you're in the right place.
So lace up,
Tune in,
And let's do life together.
Welcome back to Espresso Yourself. Just for starters, I want to apologize to our listeners or those that I know get on weekly and are waiting for the podcast because last week's episode just dropped this morning that we're recording it. So my bad and my apologies to our listeners that are very loyal and are always on the lookout for it. I know I have a couple that are always like, where was your podcast? I listen to it when I'm getting ready in the morning. And this week was a little bit crazy and hectic for me. Single momming it with my husband in Thailand, and I was studying for my test and a bunch of other things that came up and happened this week that I am going to fill you guys in on. So I did not actually get to editing and getting it published until last night. So I apologize for those that are listening, but you'll just have back to back that you get to listen to in a closer time span. But anyways, this week was super busy and crazy for me because John was gone. And then I did not tell you girls this. I don't think I even hinted towards this. I don't remember. Saturday, the day after we recorded, we have a million things to do. We had a birthday party to go to that night. John needed to pack to get ready to leave, all the things. And he's out mowing, and I hear him come in. He's like, boys, look what I found. It was a painted turtle about this big. So adult size. Did I tell you guys about the turtle? Okay. So the boys were like, can we keep it? Can we keep it? And I'm like, the boys have been wanting a turtle.
Wait, like a real turtle?
Yeah, a real turtle. Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right.
And I mean, Oliver's like loved Ninja Turtles. Like he's always liked the reptiles. Like he's always wanted one. And my niece had a little painted turtle, but hers was a baby that they found and kept. And we're like, listen, if you ever find one, then you guys can have one if you find one. Well, found one. And the boys were like, can we keep it? And I'm like, well, John, we did tell them that if they ever found one, they could keep it. And John's like, I should have never showed them. Like, well, that's on you. So he finishes mowing. And I'm like, well, we had this like one of those like blue round kiddie pools for outside. We put the turtle in it, got a little water dish, put a couple rocks down on it. And we're like, well, we're going to have to go to the town. We're going to have to get like a tank. We're going to get all this stuff for this turtle because we don't have anything to keep it in. It's not like a little baby one either. So you can't like use just a smaller thing. I'm like, all right. So we load up. We head to Fort Wayne. We get all the things. I mean, we're there for over an hour at the store. And Oliver's like, Mom, I'm just really worried about the turtle. I'm really worried about it. And he had named it Leo already. I'm like, yeah, like, wouldn't that suck if we go back and it's not even in it? Like, somehow it got out. So we come home. Now, granted, our neighbor's birthday party was supposed to start at 5 and it got moved up and it's supposed to start at 4. We get home and it's like 3:30. We pull in our driveway and the kiddie pool is flipped over in the yard. I'm like, oh, crap. And John's like, oh, shoot. Because it was a little windy, but he had put some rocks in it. And I'm like, please be underneath of it. Please be underneath of it. And I lift it up. No turtle. That kid went from the happiest kid in the world to the saddest kid in a 2-hour time span. I mean, we're out looking like, okay, couldn't have gotten too far, right? He could crawl pretty fast. And there's a pond across the street. So I'm like, I'm sure that's where it came from. Because John's like, it's a painted turtle. It's an aquatic, like there's no water over here. Where is it going? So we're like searching, can't find it. I'm like, well, that sucks. Like, that was a waste of time for us to drive into Fort Wayne when we had all these other things that we needed to do. And that was a lot of money. She's like, what do we do? And John's like, well, let's just keep the stuff for now, just in case. I'm sure like we might find it, or, we could always maybe get the kids something. So we kept it. And, then John left Sunday. And I told the boys I had an appointment on Tuesday. I said, hey, if you guys are really good at my appointment, maybe we can go over to the pet store and see like what kind of reptiles, aquatic, like what do they have? Like, can we even get one? Because when we went out to my parents on Sunday at the pond, I was like, let's just go walk around the pond. And we were going to go out to the lake, like by where my sister lives, and we never made it out that way. It's like, maybe we'll find something. So we go Tuesday morning, we go to the pet store. They don't have a painted turtle, which apparently I guess it's illegal, like, or you have to get a permit. So we're looking at them and the kids are like, can we get it? I'm like, well, we're going to wait until your dad gets back from his trip. And if we decide to go purchase one, we'll do it as a family. So Oliver has a game Tuesday night where he had, and so that was also chaotic because one of my former students from my very first year teaching, he is now 21, he came out to watch Oliver play. Another couple that we're friends with came out to watch Oliver. Oliver's former coach was there because his son was playing, all these people, and John wasn't there. And it's like 5 a.m. John's time, and I'm trying to videotape because they put Oliver into pitch on Tuesday. So Oliver's super excited because he's been wanting to pitch, and he hasn't gotten to pitch all season because they do a lot of tournament games. And with tournament games, like, you usually put in your good pitchers. Not that he's not good. He did a really good job. It's just he's not one of them. He's being on the younger side. The coach is always worried, like, his reaction time to get a line drive. So anyways, everything is just chaotic at the game. And then my sister calls me and I'm like, I don't answer because I'm in the middle of talking to somebody. Then she calls my mom and she's like, look what we just found. Because they live out back by the lake. They were driving home and spotted a turtle crossing the road, and she pulled over and had her kids get out to grab this turtle for my boys. So after the game on Tuesday, we went over to watch my niece play, and she brought the turtle. So it's not the same turtle we had on Saturday, but it's a new turtle, and we now have a pet turtle. So it was meant to be. But that night we got it all set up. I mean, it's same big size. We named it Bucky for like with the Buckeyes. So Bucky and Brutus. I never in a million years would have thought that I would have ventured in with the turtle, but the boys were very happy. So, but we went to go to watch my niece play and get the turtle from my sister. And that's when the softball hit my car and shattered my windshield all that same night. And so the earliest they could do it to fix my windshield was Thursday, which was the day of my test. So they were supposed to, and I'm like, I can't do that. And I wanted them to come out to me because I had the boys. So today was the day they came to do it. And the guy comes out, gets everything set up. And then he's like, well, I have some bad news. The camera sensor, something in the windshield, they couldn't get to collaborate or whatever diagnostics thing they were doing before they even took the windshield out. And he said, apparently the Equinox and Traverse, they've been having issues with. So he's like, you have two options. I need to either take it into their shop and they've got something else that they could use, a different tool, to see if that'll work. And then if it works, they can replace it right there in the shop, or I have to take it to the dealership. So my window was supposed to be fixed today, and now I can't get it into the shop till Tuesday. So it's just been an insane week. Like, I finally am like able to breathe.
And then you take it to the dealership, and it's going to be so expensive. I hate going to
And we
dealerships.
already, I know. Well, we already paid for
I'd rather like do small town.
Yeah. John's like, well, you already paid for it. Get your money back. Just take it to the dealership and don't even worry about, because as it was, the night that it happened, because he's in a totally different time zone as me. I couldn't even like reach out to tell him about it. So I like get on to do to schedule the repair, and I'm like, just go through insurance. And John, when I talked to John the next day, he's like, don't go through insurance. I'm like, why? He's like, because then you're going to end up having a higher deductible. By the time you end up paying higher, you're going to be paying for what you could have paid up front, which is John's like motto with everything. Like he doesn't like to go through insurance because of that. But I'm like, also, then what's the point of insurance? So I don't get it. My parents don't get it, but that's what so now I already went through that. So then I had to try to call and try to get them to take it off the insurance and try to redo payment. And this was all Wednesday, and I'm like stressing out, and was trying to prep for this test, and I'm like, it's just been a nightmare. So, and then Oliver plays Saturday at 8
How did the
a.m.
tests go?
The multiple choice I felt good about, which I had taken 3 different practice ones and did anywhere between an 80 to a 90% on those. So I felt good about that. It's the constructor response that had me stressed. And I totally did what my best friend did. And I got to the first one. I felt really good about it. And I probably spent more time than I should have on it. And then I got to the second one, and I'm like, oh, I'm not quite sure on this one. I'm kind of and then so I was like, you know what? Let me go to the next one and look at what the prompt is and see how I feel about this one. So I went to the third one, and I'm like, okay, I feel good about this one too. Let me take my time and answer this one so that the two, at least the first and the third that I felt strong about, I would have good, solid answers. And then I can go back to the other one and just try my best on it versus being stuck on that second one and then not getting to the third one when I know I could have answered that. So I did that, went back to the second one last, and I literally I was so rushed on time. I didn't even have any time to go back and review everything. But I still feel strong about what my answers were. And of course I was using Chat GPT and to try to figure out okay, what do I need to get on my essay portion of the test if I get 70 of the multiple choice right? And they're like, you can get away with getting ones on your essays. Okay, as long as you're using the right verbiage and it makes sense, I should get a 1. Because if I would get a 0, then I shouldn't be teaching at all at this point in my career, on those. So
What were the questions for the essays?
okay, so the first one talked about it was a kindergarten teacher, and they're wanting to create a lesson or instruct with letter sound correspondence. And it said, what 2 instructional strategies should she focus on? And then and then task 2 was, what is an informal assessment? So I put in my answer response, I wrote about how she should one activity she could do is holding up letter cards and saying B says B, and modeling the appropriate sounds, and then giving the students the opportunities. And then the other activity, I do use all my OG training stuff. And I was using sand trays and saying what spells B, and having kids write it. And then informal assessment would just be observations as the kids are doing it. You can quickly see which kids are getting it, and we move on. And then I also added in starting with consonants and then moving to vowels, so you can progress towards more complex phonic patterns. So I felt good about that one. And then the other one I felt good about was, it said, what are 3 components of fluency to include with fluency instruction or increasing fluency? And then so you had to write the 3 components. You had to describe them, which was rate, accuracy, and prosody. So I felt good about that one, being able to explain the components of fluency. And then 2 activities, I think it was 2 activities that the teacher could do to then teach or work on the fluency. And so I put repeated readings and reader theater and things like that. The one that I was stuck on that I had to come back to was It was like a 5th grade classroom, and it said the teacher, it was like a content specific informational passage or text that the teacher wanted to give. You needed to give 2 informal assessments.
It's funny.
Hey, guys, why are sorry, the kids decided to play in the room now. You should not be. Um, two, 2 informal assessments that you could use to gauge the student's readiness for the text. And then the second task was using data from those assessments, 2 ways that you could group the students to differentiate instruction. And that one I was like stuck on. And then I came back to it. And then I said, one of them was like for informal assessment beforehand was using like an inquiry based KWL chart where students like wrote what they know, what questions they had, and things like that. And then a vocabulary mapping, like semantic mapping activity. So you could see like what knowledge they had on vocabulary and the context. And then for grouping, I said to do flex grouping. So where kids were like within their own skill group, and those, because it talked about gifted students. And I said you could give them more of a project-based activity, like to enrich their learning. And then those like ELL kids or whatever, you could do more of an intense small group intervention with and work on the phonics and decoding skills that they might need for it. And then the other one I said is more like the heterogeneous groups where you're going to have the higher kids and the lower kids mixed together so that you have that modeling of peer modeling, whatever. So I felt rushed through that one, but after like coming home and like looking up some stuff about it, I'm like, okay, I feel good about my answers. So it's just, it's that test anxiety, but now it's over. And now I have to wait 3 weeks and I don't find out until the estimated day of getting my score is July 17th. So now it's just a waiting game.
So, and this was for your reading what was this for?
It's for the science of reading.
That's so crazy. When I had to take the test for my reading endorsement, it was 100 questions and you just had to get like 80% or higher.
Yeah.
Like that was it, 100 multiple choice. But like those essays, that's a lot. How long did you have to take this whole thing?
So it was 180 minutes total. And you had the 90 multiple choice questions prior. So when I got to the 3 essays, I think I had about 50 minutes left to do the essay part. And they say to take 10 minutes. They say you should only take 10 minutes per essay. Not the case. Not the case at all.
That is a lot of information for 10 minutes per essay.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Well, and what's crazy to me is 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For your results, I'm sorry, we are in 2026.
Yeah.
You can have somebody grade that within a week. That is insane.
Feel like they
and that's ridiculous.
Yeah. I feel like they should at
Sorry,
least
it makes me mad
give
for you. Like, that's stupid. Sorry, I think it's stupid.
Estimate, because out of those, the 90 multiple choice, you can get those results instantly. And that's 75% of the test score. And then the 3 essays, that is counted towards 9 of your points, your raw points, that they have to use a grader for, like in person. And that's 25% of your total score. But you should be able to know, like, okay, if this person got, let's say I got 80 of the 90 right and I got all zeros on the thing, it should still show that I passed, like at that point. So I don't know, because it's it goes from 100 to 200 as the score. And from what I heard, because you need 159 to pass. So 9 of those points is for the essay. So if you get all 9 right, you get 109. And then you need 159. So that would be like getting 50 of the multiple choice correct to pass. So I don't know. There's got to be a way that they could release a small portion, or at least let you know what you got on the multiple choice. I wish. Like,
well, that,
I could have that,
and then they make you wait so many days before you can retake it.
Yeah.
Well,
I truly
half of
do
that
feel
waiting
okay.
period time is you waiting on your test scores.
Yeah. Yeah.
I took a test when I first got into teaching to get certified in something and I didn't pass it the first time. So I had to wait that waiting period before taking it again. And so I know that like whole, hey, having to wait the time period and just hearing that you have to wait 3 weeks. I'm sorry. If this was the early 2000s, maybe 10 years ago, I'd be like, okay, yeah, sure. But this is 2026. After all the technologies we have, after all the resources, you're still going to take 3 weeks for somebody's score. Like, that's not right. And I mean, but that's the world we live in with education and the lack of.
Yeah.
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 I
Because
remember
today they're currently voting on a reading list for the state of Texas that y'all, it's bad.
Yeah.
So for the state of Texas, we're about to be like,
Yeah.
it's
Because
just
I remember
yeah,
when I was in
it's
college,
nuts.
I didn't pass the praxis the first time. Well, and I had to take 2 or 3 because I had my elementary degree licensure and
Mhm.
then I had my
Mhm.
special ed. They weren't dual. I had 2 separate ones. So I had to pass both of those. And I can't remember which one it was that I didn't
Uh-huh.
pass. And then I had to go in and take it again. And like that was just stressful. So of course, going into this test, that's in the back of my mind is, oh my gosh, like I didn't pass that in college. But I do feel like I was very well prepared. I feel confident. Like now that it's over, I feel like, okay, like I feel good. Now watch and then I don't pass and I'll beat myself up for that. But
Yeah, but you've
I
been in
feel
the
good.
field for a long time. Like,
Yeah.
I think doing those essays as a college student, I think would be, like, way different because now you've had the practice of doing it all and seeing what works, and honestly, with all those multiple grade levels in those questions, like, I would not have been able to answer that in college
No.
as easy as I would be able to answer that now, and I feel like now it's not even, like, that easy because once you're in a grade level, like that kindergarten question, I was like, bam, 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 bam,
Yep.
like, yeah, I could do that. But like I've been out of teaching reading in the intermediate grades for 4 years now, and I would have to like dig back into the archives and pull something out
Yeah.
and like really have to think 10 minutes would not be enough to feel like I could describe proper teaching strategies. It's like answering a question for an interview
No.
where
And I'm
you have to
glad
like think right on your feet.
having at least the teaching first grade for 10 years and then now having fourth grade, I think has definitely helped because those lower elementary, I'm like, yeah, like, I have that. And now, like, that I've taught fourth grade, like some of those morphology questions and all of like those more higher complex reading skills. Had I not taught fourth grade and I was just taking this as a first grade teacher, I probably would have been like, I have no clue. Now, I would have had some clue from studying, but having at least that experience in both grade levels has definitely helped. But like, so let me ask you guys this, if you would even know this answer. One of the questions on the test, because so my coworker, she was taking it with me as well. So we were both in there together, which was another factor because I started like a couple minutes before her. Like the whole security check down, like they're checking between your ears. They had like, we're looking at my glasses. I said, this was more intense than going through security at the airport. Like ridiculous. But like, so I got started and then she started after me. And here's my brain because she got to the essay part before me. I could tell because, you hear like the typing is just consistent versus like the click of the mouse. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, she's already on the essay part. And I still have like 15 multiple choice questions. Like, oh my gosh, and then that's like messing with my brain, like as I'm taking it. But when we left, because we both took the full time. And so when we left, we were like talking about some of the questions. I'm like, there was a question on there. She's like, I've never even heard of. And I had kind of heard it a little bit, but it was like F and Z are examples of what type of sounds. And one of them was like nasal. One of them was stoppage. And the other one, the answer that I chose, and I just went on a whim, was a fricative. Because we're like, F and Z are what kind of things? And we looked it up and I did get that one right. It was a fricative. I'm like, yes. Because I'm like, that's not something like I teach. Like, those aren't just like the common things.
Okay, listen. That is something that I'm like, I hope no one from my district is listening. I'm supposed to be teaching, right? Now they have this thing called a sound wall. You want to know when I put up my sound wall? After the last day of school. No, the last day of school, like right before the last day of school, because I bought it off of the teacher that was next door to me who's leaving teaching and going to be an SLP now. And so I put it up and the kids were like, "Oh my gosh, what is that?" And I'm like, "I'm not really sure."
Yeah. I'm like, okay, nasal. I feel like I remember like you can like feel something in, and it does benefit. I will say, like, my teammate
Yeah.
who took it, like, she hasn't had like the full Orton Gillingham training. Like, when I was in first grade, like, they paid for that. Like, I had to go through the intense. So she's gotten a like small little bits of like where our literacy coach will like give little small PDs on it, but she hasn't had the full actual training. So I will say having that did definitely benefit um with some of those skills like on the test and things like that, because I know when I moved to fourth grade and we had to do some of the like phonics things that you had to use phonemic awareness and stuff on, I was like able to kind of help my teammates with that because I had all of that training as first grade teacher. But yeah, some of the terminology, I'm like, I know what it is, but we don't use the actual term. It just comes natural to us and we just use it. So, you know, but yeah, it's over. I can now enjoy. We can hopefully
That's just
celebrate when we
crazy
get
because,
together.
like, yes. Yes. That's just crazy because these, like, you could teach the kids, and maybe I will coming up this year, but like these kids are not going to remember what a fricative is or a nasal vowel or like, you know what they're going to remember? They're
Boy.
going to remember the whiny A. Like, if they're going to remember the silent E, they're going to remember all this stuff. But like, sorry, but we're not using the words fricative or whatever. Like,
Yeah. Well, even like
mm-mm.
syllable patterns and all of that, and like why this makes this sound and the open and closed syllables. I didn't even know that until becoming a teacher. Actually, OG training, really. I'm like,
No.
I don't remember learning any of this as a kid. It's helpful. I'm like, okay, I understand this now as an adult, but I don't. Granted, they taught things a lot more different when we were kids. All the basal reading versus anything else. But
Yeah.
yeah, I know. And
Becky, how
everybody's
did the
so
wedding go? I
confused.
still see, like, the henna on your hand.
Yeah. So the henna's like it's coming off. I think it's like all the way off, but I got it on both sides of my hands because it was a bridesmaid. And that was like when we went to we talked last Friday, and then last Friday night was when I got it done. And it was like it was this whole big, like, we walked into this ballroom where they had the wedding and the reception and everything. And my husband and I walked in and we were like, oh my gosh. There's probably 150 to 170 people the night before the wedding. For it's like wasn't a religious ceremony, but like it was a whole deal. I don't even want to know how much they spent on this wedding because there was 100 and let's say like 160 people the night before the wedding. For They had dinner, it was like a buffet dinner. They had like 20 performances by family and friends and like things like that. But there was the DJ was there the whole weekend. So like he did Friday night, Saturday morning, and Saturday night. And like it was this whole setup. The ballroom was reserved, like it was huge. Everyone was dressed up. And then they had the henna people there. So they had 3 women who have been doing henna for like 20 years. And I like I took a video of it because this lady like had my hand down and she was like boop 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 doo, 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 and like she did both, like each side took 15 minutes for both of my hands. That was it. She was like, "Okay, go away for 30 minutes, come back, and then I can do your other side." And like it just was like incredible. I said, "This is the coolest thing I've done in my 30s." Like it was the night before my birthday. I was like, "I turn 40 tomorrow. This is the coolest thing." Like other than, but I don't know, all the other things, having children, whatever, moving. Like, this was like the coolest. Like, I was like, when am I ever going to get this done again? Probably never. But it was the coolest temporary tattoo that I have ever gotten. And then Saturday morning, I was sitting in the chair getting my hair done at 5:30 in the morning. And I got up at 4 o'clock because I needed to go run my 4.0 for my 40th. Like, I was down in the hotel gym on that treadmill running, which, of course, like, Allyson, I thought of you because I'm like, treadmill running. She does this all the time. Um, and yeah, it just was crazy. And then, so I had all these Indian outfits to wear, but on Saturday morning, um, I sent you guys pictures, but I wore this sari, and a sari, like, you put on almost like a crop top, like, piece of material, and then like a slip almost. They called it a petticoat. And then it's just this like one huge piece of material that they wrap around you. It's just like one piece of material. And so they had these sorry girls come in and like they kept asking me, okay, I'm the only white person in the room. Okay. I have never felt more white than I did last weekend, which isn't a bad thing. It's just an observation. But um they're like asking me, is this okay? Is this okay? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's okay. This is the first time someone's doing it to me. And so it took 3 different people, 3 different times to have have it finally secure enough for me to wear it for like, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours. Like was it was insane. And I just was like, I had to be careful the whole time I was wearing this. I would like, we were taking pictures, we were walking down the aisle, we were like sitting the whole time. We were, I know, all these things. It just was like, when at night on Saturday night before the reception, we changed into yet another outfit. And the brother-in-law of the bride, um, he looked at me and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, you look a little overwhelmed." And I'm like, "Okay, listen. Okay. You are Indian. Okay. You have also, this is like their fifth wedding of the year, a fifth Indian wedding of the year. Okay. Each of these weddings last 3 days." And I'm like, yeah, it's not only like taxing physically because you're out late and you're up early and it's all day and everything, but like it's mentally exhausting also because a lot of things are not like, they're not in English and there's a lot of people around, and like it's a lot and something that I had never done before. So it was a really, really, really cool experience, and I loved being a part of it all. And everyone was so great. I'd be like, they had Indian food buffets for all the meals, and I was like, what is that? What is that? What is that? And I think I told you guys last week when I was at this thing on Thursday, like the old Indian women would come up to me and be like, is that too spicy for you? Like, this is really spicy. And so it was the same thing. Like, but the food was so good and had been so long since we'd had Indian food. So like we ate really well and we had an opportunity to relax, and like I couldn't nap because my hair and my makeup was done and it had to last all day, but it was so fun. Like, other than family weddings, that's the only wedding that I had ever been a part of for a friend. So, it was cool to have that experience on my 40th birthday. Um, but, like, the one thing that I didn't get to do that's a tradition on my birthday is eat a bacon cheeseburger. That's, like, I have it I'm gonna get it tomorrow night, but that's, like, my one tradition that I've done, I don't know, maybe the last 10 or 11 years. I have a bacon cheeseburger once a year on my birthday. And then Like, and then that's it. I'm like, okay, waiting like another year until I have a bacon cheeseburger. Not for any like reason. It just, for whatever reason that just it just made it really special. And so, yeah, it was a crazy, exhausting weekend, but super fun. And I feel like now I'm like, I want this henna to be off now because now it just looks dirty. But like, I mean, like you can still see it, but I'm glad I got pictures of the whole thing because it looked cool. And when I like when Carson saw it, my 9-year-old, he was like, "Did you get a tattoo?" Like, I didn't just go and get a tattoo on the back of my hand. Like, thank you for thinking that like I'm, you know, pretty like I don't want to say it on here, but like, just thank you for thinking that I am that cool to go get a tattoo on my hand. But yeah,
Do you have any
it
tattoos?
was really awesome. And I've won.
Okay.
Yeah, I've one on the inside of my left ankle. It's a turtle. Yeah, I got it last year on a girls' trip.
Okay.
There's 4 of us have the same tattoo. Yeah.
I always joke that it
So
would have been funny for me to get a turtle tattoo on my foot, considering the story of the turtle when I was younger. But yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Do you have any
I mean, of
tattoos,
any
Katie?
I have 4.
Okay.
ooh.
So I have an arrow here. Where is it? Hold on. Let's see. An arrow there. Let me see. I can't even an arrow there. And then this one, it's so you kind of have to read it like this, but it's I 26.2. So like I'll have to
Okay.
take a picture
Yeah.
of it, but it's like my marathon one.
Mhm.
So people are like, "Oh, what cursive is it?" And I was like, "No, it's not cursive. It's 26.2." And they were like, "Oh, okay." And then I have my mom's handwriting on the inside of one ankle, and then I have an anchor on the other inside of my ankle. So 2 wrists and 2 ankles, and that's it.
That's cool. I like that.
Nice.
But
Kind of like trying to think.
speaking of food,
Yes, I was going to ask you about
Yes.
this
food.
morning I went to Pop-Up Bagel, and they're apparently on the East Coast, and they're big in New York. And so the concept is they're like a rip and dip into the schmear type of bagel. And so the one down here opened, I guess, about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And JJ Watt, the famous football player who was a Texans player for like years and years and years, um, he brought he bought into the franchise and he brought it down here to Houston. And so I've been seeing like videos online and like TikToks, and I'm like, man, I really want to go try it, but it's like 35 minutes from my house. So and then I had heard that like the longer you wait in the day, the longer the lines are. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go one of these Fridays that I'm off, and I'm going to drive out there and go get bagels and schmear. But the thing about their schmear is it's a rotating menu. So their schmear flavors will change every week. And so this week they had, well, this one I don't think rotates too much. It's Capriccio Pepe or something like that. They had that one. They had a truff sauce cream cheese, which that one was really good. It had like a little kick to it. Then they had a berry one, and then they had a brown sugar butter. And so, yeah, that was probably like my favorite one. But I like sweet cream cheeses over like savory. And so when I saw they had 2 sweet on the menu this week, I was like, I have to go on Friday. And so I got up this morning and I drove out there, and there really wasn't a line. I just had to wait for my bagels. And they don't like bake your bagels, they like boil them. And yeah, so they
Interesting.
boil them, and their flavors are poppy, sesame, salt, plain, and everything bagel. So they don't have any like bagels with like fruit in it or anything. It's just and they don't really rotate those. Those stay on the menu the full time. And so I got 2 salt, 2 sesame, and 2 everything. And the salt ones I liked a lot because it was just like a plain bagel, and just you rip it and you dip it into the cream cheeses. But it was really good. I liked it. I wasn't expecting to like the truff sauce as much as what I did. I got that one primarily for my husband. And funny enough, he's like, okay, go to HEB later and go buy some more bagels, but we're gonna do like that cream cheese on a jalapeno bagel. Because we had a feeling like that one on a jalapeno bagel would be super good. So we're gonna the cream cheese tubs are like this big. So I have plenty of like cream cheese schmear left. Like the bagels, I only got a few, but like the cream cheese tubs are huge. So those are in the fridge and we'll be able to have those for like the next few days. But it was worth the drive. I don't think I'm gonna do it like all the time. I think it's like a treat that I go, every once in a while, but I'm glad I went. Um I wish they would open up more, but, like, the part of town I drove to is I like to call it our bougier side of town. So I drove to our bougier side of town to go get these bagels, and I parked my car, and I hadn't been to this area in a very long time, and I was like, "Oh gosh, there's, like, Athleta, there's all these nice restaurants," and I was like, "I am so not fancy enough for this side of town." So I just got my bagels, and all the cars around are way nicer than mine. I'm like, "Okay, I'm just driving up in my Honda," you know? I'm like, "This side of town's way too nice for me," but I got the bagels, and they're really good. So it was worth the drive.
That's how I felt when I went to get my ring fixed. I went to whatever one of them that was listed on the insurance thing, and it was like, I think it was Bradley Golf. I don't know. Or either way, it was extremely fancy place. They had like security, like there was like cops walking around inside. Like you talk about a place that sparkles. And the first time I went in there, I am in sweats. Like I look like it was just, I felt so awkward. I'm like, yeah, I'm in this really bougie diamond store and I am messy bun, like sweats. So like sweatshirt, sweatpants, just not looking like I could afford any of this stuff. But here I am. I'm like, I just need it replaced. I'm not actually buying anything. And I'm not stealing anything either, I promise. But yeah.
So we're gonna probably have a lot to catch up on because we're not gonna record next week for the holiday weekend. I'm gonna head on a cruise next weekend, which I cannot wait. Like 7 days from now on the cruise, all the things. But so then we're gonna have a lot to catch up on in 2 weeks. So
Yeah.
stay tuned for that. Catch our episode that we're recording now. And then we will see you all in a couple of weeks.
Thanks for sipping and sharing a moment with us today. We can't wait to keep showing up with you each week. Messy, caffeinated, and real.
And if you like what you heard, we'd be so grateful if you'd follow, subscribe, or share this with your teacher bestie, mom group chat, or training partner, or all three. It helps more people find our little corner of chaos and connection.
Make sure to hit follow so you don't miss next week's episode. And don't forget to connect with us on Instagram at Espresso Yourself Podcast. Tell us what resonated, share your own stories, what topics you want us to cover, or just come say hi.
Until next time, keep showing up.
Keep giving yourself grace.
And espresso yourself.
One
sip at a time.
time.